Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Kim Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
What's good, everybody? What's going on? It's your boy Kim Hoang, cooking up another episode that is the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, coming at you live all the way over in the Baltimore, Maryland area at the Wasabi Studios. And I'm just kind of chilling right now and making this episode for y'all because, I love you guys, and I think it's great that, I continue to be proactive, and I try to make as much as content as possible. I know that I've been slacking a little bit, and I do apologize on that. But I got to say, it's really good to be here at the Wasabi Studios because there's a nice ambiance too there and so forth. I mean, mind you, there are in this studio there are the studio animals that do reside here, rent free, I might add. So there's nothing new about that. There is a dog that lives here and a cat that lives here. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a little bit, counterintuitive with between animals, but I kind of feel that, if the animals can get along and they can live together in peace and harmony, then there's no harm, no foul, right? At least I don't think so. First off, I want to say yes to Hector. He got paid, and I actually gave him the cash in hand. He had to leave. But he did take the time to make sure that everything was working well. So I did give him that little payment, and I hope that was enough. And Hector, I do appreciate it, bro. As always, you're always a good guy and a good dude, and I really appreciate it, hermano. So muchas gracias, and we'll be catching you again real soon. This is a rare moment for the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience because I'm going to be making an episode that is going to be, there's not going to be, it's going to just go right off. It's going to keep going. There will be no commercials, so it's just going to keep going and going and going like the, original format. For those that actually did appreciate the last episode with the commercials, I do appreciate that. We're still kind of, going to think about it and see if that's something that might continuously be in the works. We don't know. But if you enjoy that kind of content and kind of if you enjoy the little breaks in the episode where you go from one to another and then to another, let me know. Hit it up. We might be able to do things more often. I don't know. Today I really wanted to make an episode that's really near and dear to me, and something that recently happened. And, I think that this is something that I really wanted to put out there because people have the right to know. Now, I guess you could say for the fact of anything, and to put it so objectively and bluntly, I'm always a guy that makes episodes and I make it fun, and I always have a good tone about myself. I really have a good moment about myself, and I just have that energy and so forth. But I had a recent scare in my life, and I wanted to bring that to the attention of a lot of people. Now, I never thought that I would even be in this position to actually, talk about this. I never really thought that in the world of me that there would even be a moment where I would have to talk about this. But I felt like, number one, I wanted to bring it out there because I wanted to bring a sense of awareness. But most importantly, number two, is just my way of actually dealing with it and just understand the situations. Now, it depends on the situation of where you're listening to today because, the dates and everything like that. So I'm going to be as general as possible. and specific as possible. And that is last Monday on April the 24th at 6 a.m., I went over to the hospital because my chest was really feeling tight and I couldn't breathe. And then I found out that, when I was in the hospital, that I was diagnosed with CHF, which means congestive heart failure. Now, I know what a lot of people are thinking. And a lot of people are thinking, there's no way in the world, man. You're young. You're 45. You do a lot of things, health-wise, actively. How did this happen? Let me start from what I remember and what I can recall. On Saturday, I'll say, on the 22nd, I started to notice, even more so that my chest was starting to feel a little bit tight. Now, I thought that, for me personally, I thought it was just a simple chest congestion. Sometimes that does happen from time to time. And I thought to myself, well, if I just take a hot shower throughout the day, I could probably open up my lungs a little bit, cough up whatever it is that might be congested, hack it out, and I'll be okay. But I noticed throughout the day that, my chest was getting tighter, but, I could manage. Now, that night, there's no way in the world that I could have slept comfortably because I was sleeping on my bed in a flat, prone position, and my chest felt really tight. I felt like, oh my God, what do I do? And to kind of alleviate that, I actually was sitting or sleeping on my computer desk chair in an upright position like you would when you're going to drive a car. And I had a heating pad attached to my chest. Hopefully, that it would just kind of, open stuff out, And then on that Sunday, on the 23rd, it got progressively worse. I still was in the race. I think I still was feeling fine at the time. But, alas, it just was not good. It was a real bad situation. But I got through it. Monday morning, I'll never forget it. I wake up. I said to myself, I'm probably going to go ahead and do a quick workout before I go to work. I'm a member of Planet Fitness, so I could probably just, get like an easy workout and I'll be okay. And next thing you know, when I get over to my vehicle, that's when it just all went downhill. It went haywire. It was awful. It was like the worst thing that I could possibly feel because it felt like rapidly like somebody was punching me on my chest hard, consistently, nonstop, with full power. And there was no chance that I could, get even 1 second of breath. And during that, at the same time, it felt like somebody was literally choking me at my throat, taking both of their hands and grabbing my throat and just choking me out without even a chance. But I knew that I felt it was necessary for, number one, to try to calm down as much as I could and try to breathe as much as I could, give myself some time. And now, mind you, I was supposed to work that day. I really was. But I knew that being in the condition that I was and how severe it was and what I went through, there was just no way in the world that I could do it. So I gathered myself and I said, you know what? We're going to go to the hospital. We're not going to work today. There's no way. I think my day job can understand that, and if they can't, I'm sorry. But, at the end of the day, I have to take care of myself. My health does come first. I have to look out for myself in my best interest, because if I don't, then who will? Nobody else will, right? So I hop into the vehicle and I drive over to the hospital. And I drive over and park over to the emergency parking where you go to walk in and say, hey, I'm here because, somebody's here in the hospital, like a family member. And I go in there, and I remember I'm holding my chest. And I'm going into the hospital, and they say, "Hello, sir, what's going on? How can we help you?" And I just said it flat out. I said, "You know what? I can't breathe, and that's why I'm here. And I need to check myself in because it's really serious." So they just said, "You need to go into this room immediately." So they literally guided me in to the emergency room. And I'm like in one of the rooms, and I start the process right away. It was like at 6:30. Somewhere around the line, I don't remember how it happened, but I ended up texting the president of the company that I work at on my day job and let him know that I wasn't going to make it. He was frantic. He was concerned. He said, "You know what? Are you okay? You know what? Take the day. When everything is good and settled, let us know. Let us know throughout the day, though, how you're feeling." And we went through it. I came in there. Although I was on medication for blood pressure because I have high blood pressure, the numbers weren't bad initially, but it wasn't good. I'm not going to really repeat what it was, but it wasn't that great. But we started right away. We started to get the situation taken care of, and they were giving me like an IV and all this stuff and everything, and I was talking to the nurses and so forth. I did a lot of tests. I did like an X-ray. I did a CAT scan. I did an EKG, and I did something where the best way that I could describe it is that it's a sonogram for the heart. You know how when women are pregnant and they get a sonogram, what's a sonogram for the heart? Now, I'm not sure what that specific term is called, but that's what happened. And, we went in there and so forth and everything. And the way that it seemed like, from what I was told initially, before I found out what it was, they said that, my blood work was good and everything was okay. They also said that there wasn't any clots in my heart or anything like that, so that was good. So I was like, I thought that I was like, okay, well, this is good. Then I come up with the news, and I found out through the medical doctor that that I have a congestive heart failure, CHF. Now, when I asked him what that meant, is that, basically in the short terms, my heart was weakened. It was in a weakened condition because there was so much fluid that was building up into my heart that dispersed out to my lungs, and that's caused the shortness of my breath and everything like that. I had shortness of breath. I felt like really, which caused me to have some fatigue, some weird arrhythmia beats going on in my heart, and a little bit of edema where my legs, at least in the bottom part, felt swollen. And that if you press your finger against your leg and there's like an indentation left over, guess what? That swelling is called edema, and that shouldn't be happening. So when I heard about that, I was like, wow. And they had told me that, my heart health was like at 40%, where normally it should be like around like 60 to 70%, which is really good. 60 to 70 is good. 50 to 60 is like okay. Anything that's like below 40 and below is bad. And this is a situation where it's going to be a thing that's going to be with me forever. It's not like you can reverse it and it can go back at 100%. They told me the situation is serious, and that hopefully, we will know more about this, going forward. May the 2nd, I will go into I will have a stress test with a cardiologist, and I'll see what's going on. But yeah, it was really, really bad. The good thing about it is that when like I said, that, the blood tests looked good and there was no clots in the heart, but, there is, that underlying condition and that question about, what's going on and what's happening, and we won't know. I know that there's 3 types of congestive heart failure, which is the left-sided heart failure, the right-sided heart failure, and the biventricular heart failure. Now, the thing about, congestive heart failure, a lot of people think, well, that means heart failure, so that means you're going to die. And what I was told was that you're not dying, you know what I mean? It's just that your heart cannot function very well as much as, other people's healthy hearts. And to me, I just felt like, like another added stress to it. The good thing about it is that, I guess I caught it in the nick of time. So now we're just going to have to figure out certain ways of how to actually, make things a little bit better for my life, so I can prolong it in any which way that I possibly can. Ways that, you can actually, I wouldn't say recover, but, ways that you can help your situation are the following. Obviously I'm on 4 different types of medication, so I got to stick with the medication program. A healthy dose of of exercise, just enough to actually get it going, but not do too much. Got to cut sodium in the salt intake. You know what I mean? That's just not good. When you have anything that's salty, it retains a lot of fluid, and the more fluid that you retain, that's not good. You don't want to be like an instant human balloon. And just doing an exercise routine where that I could lose weight, because the more baggage that you have, the bad, it's just a real bad situation. Like, the more weight that you have, the more danger that you put yourself into health-wise, especially to your heart. And one of those things I will say is that I'm just lucky enough that I did what I did, and I found out all that I needed to know, or at least for right now. I won't know more until I see the cardiologist for the stress test, but we'll see what happens. Now, I know people are saying, like I said before, and I'll piggyback, where people are always saying, there's no way that this happened to you. You're in a good situation. You practice martial arts, and you actively train, and you do some exercise and so forth. Well, that may be true, but CHF happens to a lot of people. I think around 200,000 people in the United States, this has happened to them, and I can't even imagine what it'd be like worldwide, honestly. But this can happen to anybody. Heart condition is a heart condition. You know what I mean? In the world of medicine, or I shouldn't say the world of medicine. I should say in the world of human anatomy, we don't have the perfect body. You know, you might have a really good heart, but, you know, you don't have to be thin or working out. You can just be average. You know, you could have a real messed up heart and still be in a very good, bill of health in terms of, like, you know, you're working out and having, you know, a real good fit body and so forth. This type of stuff will happen to anyone and everybody. And I remember that I had a friend that I had talked to recently, and he wanted to know if I actually got vaccinated. Now, for all intents and purposes, I'm hiding his name, so I'm going to call him Kevin. Kevin I've known for a while because he's the brother of a friend of mine. And, I met him because, she and we were friends. And I got to tell you, I've known him for a lot of years. Real good dude. Real nice guy. If he will definitely have your back, and he's always going to be there for you no matter what. You know what I mean? And that's the type of dude that he is. And I got a lot of love for him. I really do. Because he's a good friend. He is a friend. I want to say that clearly. He is a friend. I know his family. His family are beautiful people. I love them both. And, they were just like my parents. Just like another set of parents. Only a little bit more relaxed and chilled. But they know good people when they see it. And they never judged on who I was. And they always thought the best of me. But that's for another episode. So Kevin actually talks to me, and he tells me something that, man, because you actually got the vaccine for coronavirus, this is what happened to you, and this is what messed up your heart. I'm just going to say this: as much as I love Kevin, and dude, I hope that you're hearing this, and if you are, you know that I love you, bro. We go a long ways back. You're truly blessed. You have a great career. You have a great family. You have kids. And, I got nothing but love and respect for you, dude. But when you said that, to be honest with you, all I have to say is this. There's a lot of things that I could have done to myself to have put myself in this position. And I don't blame anybody. I blame it strictly on myself because I was supposed to be responsible for my own health. And, putting it in my hands, I ruined it, I've been smoking cigarettes since I was the age of 18, you know what I mean? I'm 45 now, you know what I mean? And I've quit smoking cigarettes since 2013, so there you go. There's one reason why my heart could have, been in jeopardy. Another reason why I could have been in jeopardy is because, me eating so much like I normally do. There's no secret that I am a person that loves food. You know what I mean? I think food and I, we always had a great relationship. But, when you're younger, you don't really think about it because you think that your body's invincible, so you can eat anything and everything that you want. And then, later on when you get, older in the years, yeah, you feel like you have to be a little bit more careful. But, hey, if something's not happening, to you, then, why worry about it? Because you don't have the red light. You're just like green light. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And it could have been a lot of things I could have ate, on a late night, fast food, too much fast food, too much eating out, too much doing this and that and eating this when I should have been eating that. It adds up. It really does. So, I will say this. There's a lot of things that could have happened. I cannot blame, being vaccinated as the main cause of it. If there was a little cause to that, fine, no big deal. But at least I felt like I was trying to protect myself and trying to protect others from, passing on the deadliest, medical scare out there, which was, coronavirus, getting COVID-19. And yeah, right now when I think about, from Monday up to this point until now, I feel fortunate. I really do. Where do I go from here and what do I do? That is the main question. And that's, truth be told, I don't know. I can say honestly that I'm concerned for sure. I never thought that, again, I never thought in my years of life and existence that I would ever get to this point. I never did. I know that I've had history of family members having high blood pressure, and maybe high cholesterol, but I never thought that I would ever have something like this. I thought that this type of situation can't happen. No way. And the way that, I'm going in life, just, training in martial arts and doing this and that and everything, well, I guess that just proves that, you can do everything that you want to do, but if you're not taking care of yourself at 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if you're not doing everything for the maintenance and the upkeep, it's going to get to you. And it caught me. In this game of tag, it finally caught me. Somebody tagged me, and I was it. When I look at the bright side, I look at this. Well, we now know what it is, and we're starting on a journey. I know that I'm going to have to do things now to change my habits for the better in terms of exercising a little bit more, putting in a little bit more effort, but still not trying to put my heart in danger. You know what I mean? My heart is not as strong as it used to be, so I'm going to have to kind of alter things, which puts into question, can I still train in martial arts and be active that way? Well, I'm not sure. I don't want to give that up because after all the hard work that I put into it throughout my years and recently earning a third-degree black belt, I just don't want to give that up. If I can still train and still do something, that'll be great, even if I have to modify it. But, I still want to, train and keep my body in tune and, keep my spirituality up. And that's what martial arts has done, no doubt. Besides, exercising and trying to get in tune that way, I'm going to have to alter a lot of, what I do eating-wise. That's for sure. You know what I mean? So there's going to be a lot of things I know for sure going from this point that I will not have the honor to eat anymore. Mainly because I'm just trying to prolong myself and trying to do the best that I possibly can in order to, maintain myself, my life, and have whatever longevity that I can. I don't know what I'm going to be doing for the fact that when they said that, you have your heart is at a 40%, good health rate, it's scary. It is really scary to hear that. But it makes you think and appreciate for what you have now in this world. The fact that I'm still living, that I'm still breathing, that I'm still doing things, and I want to continue to do things because, I just don't want to give up. I got a lot to live for. I got a lot of things that I want to do. I still want to train in martial arts and be the best martial artist that I can be and be a role model and an ambassador for that. I still want to be proactive in, making a lot more episodes of the Kim Hoang podcast experience. I don't want to give that up. I think it's a great thing and a great avenue, and it's a great, it's just a great way for me to have my own kind of creative medium, Also, I don't want to give up on acting because I still feel like I got a long ways to go. I still feel like, somebody will see me and they'll pick me up and they'll just say that we really want this guy to be in our film or in our TV series because we believe that he is good, that he is somebody that can actually could really contribute to what we want. We think that he's the guy. And I feel like, I still got a lot of, hope in me to do that. But, all I know is this: life is what you make of it. And if I don't take advantage of everything that I have in this world or what I have left, then I think that everything that I've done up to this point would be for naught. And I think to truly do it justice, I really have to do the right things, and I have to be a little bit more proactive. I have to be a little bit more positive to myself. I really shouldn't stress myself out, and I shouldn't allow myself to be stressed out, because they usually say that stress and, high anxiety and frustration and anger is the silent killer. That's the one that will really get to you, kind of like the stake to the vampire's heart. That's it. It ended you that quick. And I feel like with, my sense of life and what my purpose and everything, I've worked too hard for it to stop now, and I don't want this to stop. I want to keep going. I want to keep excelling. I want to keep succeeding. And it's going to go, I feel like it can only go up from here. But man, I really need to have those opportunities, to build those opportunities, and to really shine. But we're going to take it one day at a time, one step at a time. We're going to do everything that we can necessary to get myself together, to be medically compliant, and to live a lot more years to come, because I feel like it can't end here. It's got to keep going. It's got to keep going. And I hope that, that I can do that, and that I will be able to do that, and my body will be able to handle the load that it's getting. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I do appreciate the fact that there have been some people out there that knew about it because I spilt the beans on it, that actually reached out. Some of them have called. Some of them have texted. Some of them have reached out through social media. I even had people, that just really stopped over to visit me in person at the hospital when this all went down. And you guys know who you are. I appreciate it. There are some people that do know. And there's some people that probably don't know, because I really wanted to keep it confidential. And for that reason, it's just more like that was my decision. I felt like there were certain people y'all had a right to know. And some people I just didn't want to tell you, because I felt like, because we don't have that real good relationship, I withheld it. And I know that's kind of messed up, and people might say that that's not the right thing to do. But, I'd rather surround myself and let people know who love me and respect me unconditionally for the person that I am. That is never negative, and that's never had a bad attitude towards me. And, that's just my decision. And I know that, maybe later on down the road it might actually be a situation where it's going to bite me in the butt. Well, yeah, I mean, it can. Just like anything else that we do in life, there's always a good thing and there's a bad thing. But, I'm just grateful. It's awesome. And, I just want to do the best that I can to make the best out of the rest of my years, so that I know that everything that I did was worth it. I just want to be a person that people said that, that Kim is a great person. We love him. We respect him. He's a good guy. We definitely call him a friend, and so forth. Going forward, though, I just want to say that I love everybody. I really do. I really appreciate it. And for anybody that, if we don't talk anymore, whatever, I just want to say that, and this is me just reaching out and extending the olive branch. Like, we should probably bury the hatchet. I don't know what it is that, whether if you did me wrong or if I did you wrong or something like that. I just want to say that I apologize on that. And I just think that we should try to work it out. You know what I mean? Life's too short. If you pass on in life and not really being that person to be that friend to another person, that you're just being frenemies or stuff like that, that just doesn't work well in life. You either truly love that person and you're willing to be their friend and really willing to make that effort, or you weren't friends to begin with, and I just don't want to live with that on my conscience. That being said, I do need to go. This has really made me feel a little bit better about myself, and knowing that going through this episode, which right now it's not really a long episode, but I just wanted to get this out there, let people know. Saying this has been very therapeutic, and I know that I just have to go forward in life knowing that this is something that I'm going to have forever. But I'm not going to let this stop me. I'm going to try to do my best to live a good life and to do the things that I've normally done, but now under, a different type of way. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me under the search box. Go and find me under the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I will be there. Go ahead and like it. I'm on 2 different types of social medias. I am on Instagram and I'm on Twitter. You can find me both at my handle, which works for both Instagram and Twitter, at TKH Experience. Once again, that's at TKH PC Experience. I'm sorry. TKH PC Experience. All in one word. Follow me and I'll follow you back. We are on 5 podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify, and we are on Spotify for podcasters, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Now, if you're on Spotify, please give me a 5-star review. I really appreciate it. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please make sure that you not only give me a 5-star review, but also a great handwritten review or hand-typed up review. And the purpose behind that is that when you do that, it gets my podcast thrown into the front of the class so that somebody over in, Spotify land and or Apple Podcast land can look at it and go, oh, wow, this is the podcast that my friend was telling me about, and it's a great podcast, and holy crap, I think that I should subscribe to it. Yes, you should. Please please like and subscribe to my podcast wherever all the podcasting platforms that it's on. The more subscriptions and likes that I have, the better it is. Also, please feel free to, promote it, whether if it's word of mouth, face-to-face, in person, or if you're promoting it through social media, through your Facebook, your Instagram, your Snapchat, what else is there? Whatever it may be, all I know is that the more awareness that you get, the better. Hell, even promote it on TikTok. If you can do that, that would be awesome. Last but not least, if you want to be a special guest on my podcast, if you want to be, a special guest host, or if you have an email that you would like to send me where you're giving me constructive criticism and so forth, please email me at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Under the subject box, please go ahead and write whatever subject it is, and then on the body of the email, type it up. Let me know what you're thinking, and when you email it to me, I will read it and I'll get back to you within 24 hours because I do like those communicative correspondences. It's awesome. But I got to go, ladies and gentlemen. It has been great being here at the Wasabi Studios over in Baltimore, Maryland. I really do appreciate it. Got to give a quick shout out to the studio owners, Kimo and Dana. Dudes, we really love you guys, and we really appreciate the use. Just remember that, we love you. We appreciate you all. We want you to do great things. We want you to succeed because it doesn't do us any good if you actually do something wrong and you land yourself in a pine box and get buried 6 feet under, which we don't want you to do. We want you to succeed and do well. We want you to be at a good place, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. So for the one time, this is your boy, Kim Hoang, the Asian Sensation, saying thank you. We appreciate it. We're going to do it one more time, and I love you all. Thank you so much, and I'm out. Peace.